Right.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to do some position reviews on some photographs that you sent in, and I'd like to welcome my friend and colleague here, Randy.
Hi, everybody. It's a beautiful day, and I'm so honored to be here with Laura today so we can review what she's looking at and talk about something that's important to all of us, and that's riding position.
Yeah. Randy has been coaching and certifying riding instructors for over 25 years, and she's a horse industry legal consultant and expert witness, and the founder of Jumping Instructors Network, as well as other Facebook pages. And of course, there's me. I'm an Equestrian Canada senior judge, hunter, jumper, hack, and equitation, and a senior steward, and a competition coach specialist. So if it's your first time here, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if it's not your first time here, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or if you generally like other horsey related stuff, just remember to subscribe to the to the YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos that are coming out. So we've got some great people sent in their photos. And if you see us looking down, it's because my computer screen's down here and I'm looking at the screen and my camera's up there. So I'm just kind of looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up. So we got some great photos today, Randy. You excited to get going here?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, let's go.
Yeah, let's make sure. Okay. And also remember that you can comment. We're watching this live. You can comment live if you're on Facebook, we're going to Facebook, we're going to YouTube. And if you have
questions, like she said,
ask your questions. Love to hear your questions and comments on
share this channel. You can share this channel, the link everywhere, right?
Share it.
Share it, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you are, Facebook, share the link so that your friends will have access to the show also, because this is important advice that you can use to do it yourself to fix or to align your riding position. It's quite a gift. It's a gift.
Exactly. So just getting things queued up here. Just finding some stuff here. Here we go. Sometimes the comments don't come in all the time, so I'm just making sure that I see them here. Okay.
And I know you're wondering about my background. This is what it looks like behind my house. This is my view.
Are you ready to go? And we might have Jay's trying to get on here. I'm not sure if he's got his internet or not, but we are trying to get Jay on as well. Okay, so let's share the first position here. Okay, here we go. Thank you, everybody, for sending in your pictures and videos and everything. And if you would like to have your position reviewed and live, you can send me an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com. And also if you're on Instagram, use the hashtag "Are My Heels Down" to be featured. Oh, Randy's got her her spyglass out.
Right, so I can see closer.
Yeah. So first of all, excellent position. This Chestnut is at the horse show. This is from Hollis. Thank you so much, Hollis. She sent this in an email to me. She says, I would like for this photo to be judged. This was at a hunter derby going into a rollback on my large pony.
Nice.
If you could judge overall equitation and my pony. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing your opinion. Thank you so much, Hollis, for sending in this. And if you are going to send in a photograph, excellent. This is a really good photograph. Love that it's from the side. You can really see your horse and your position. The only thing is that this jump standard is blocking your leg position, unfortunately. And so we could probably do a lot of comments on what we see, but it's the jump standard. Now, if we could imagine what it looked like without the jump standard there, then great. So that's what we're going to have to do, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a
So
lovely, lovely pair. They're really cute together. So as I'm looking at it, as I'm watching them go over the jump, as
yeah,
I said, they are cute together. The first thing that I'm going to notice is that I like how the energy of the rider is. You can see that she's a good team player with this horse. You know, the horse is listening to her. She's responding to her. Now, when we go into the position, she's got basically good balance, even though you can't see where the pole is, what she's exactly doing with her leg. It's pretty much, you can see she's got her balance in there a little bit.
yeah.
I would say that the tendency is because it's behind the girth and because what's happened with her upper body as she's going over this jump. You can see that first, let's start from the horse's head and then we'll work our way back. So as I'm looking, she's got such an educated position, right? But
Well, she looks she looks in balance. She looks really crisp and clean. Like she said, she's in a horse show. But I think one of the things that we all say is that can you fit a helmet?
right.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Did I press the wrong button?
And even before that, oh, my heel's down to be featured. Even before that, if you start from the horse's head, her fingers are open. So I forgot what her name was. What was it?
Hollis.
Hollis, you want to close your fingers around the reins with your thumb across the top. We can see on the photo here that you really don't have your fingers closed around the reins, which isn't changing your balance. But as we look at your balance, if we took the horse from underneath of you, you would fall forward. You're a little heavy on the forehand there.
She's heavy on the
forehand. Yeah, a little heavy on the forehand. So she's tipping over, and not in a bad way, because I can see it's a very smooth transition. But with a rider of your level, like Laura was saying, there should be a helmet between your chest and the
helmet.
Yep, helmet. So if you sit back a little bit, what it'll do is it'll bring you deeper into the saddle so you can go anchor yourself more into your lower leg. So that's what I would suggest doing, is to work on more exercises that'll help you do that, because you're
So her looks like, I mean, from what we can see of her heel right here, it looks like it's down, but I think for this team, and they are a team, you know, I would like just to see her upper body just a little bit more this way.
Yes, because she's jumping, because she doesn't, that's what makes me think that her lower leg isn't as secure as it appears. Is because usually when a rider tips this far forward in front of the horse, what's happened is their lower leg isn't supporting their position, or they may not know how to use their lower leg to support the balance of their riding position. And when that happens, what they do is they tip over the front of the horse a little bit more than they need to.
Yeah. The other thing I think from for me is the elbows below the hands.
Right.
When that happens, to me, that means that that their body's too far forward. And if she opened up her hip angle and have her hands more this way, then to me that would be just a little bit. I mean, and again, this is a lovely team. They look like their thing. But she did say she was doing a rollback turn. Love the way she's looking around with her eyes. So it's all part and parcel together of getting things going together.
Yeah, and all this is it's typical of a lot of riders today, for whatever reason. Instead of letting the horse lift their withers up when they come up over a jump, the rider is actually bringing their chest down instead of letting the horse lift up.
Yep. So that the rider's going down to meet the horse. Yes. Let the horse
fold you. If the rider's position is springy all the way through, what happens is when the horse comes up, the rider's body automatically, the horse lifts up into them and their body doesn't have to change. Right?
Yeah. Let the horse come up to meet you. I just was typing it there. So yeah, let the horse come up to meet you instead of you going down to meet the horse.
Right.
That kind of avoids it. So yeah. So I love the way her head is looking up, looking around for that turn. Bonus points for that as far as judging goes if you're in an equitation class for sure. Now, hands, elbows, head, shoulders. How about her hips?
Well, as I said before, her hips look okay, but if she's tipping over that much in the front, then that tells me right away she's missing the spring in her riding position.
Yep. So sure, hips are in the middle of the saddle. We just like to have not this hip angle. This is called a closed hip angle. When she's this way, we just like to have her hip angle just a little bit more, so that she can have weight down more into her heels.
And
But again,
what she'll feel as she does that is she'll be able to ride. There's an expression I call ride in the center of the horse. Right now, your horse is a little in front of your aids. If you can keep your riding position back, as Laura was saying, what it'll do is you'll start getting the feeling, even as you go over your course and fences, of keeping the horse's back underneath of your seat instead of it jumping up in front of you or going behind the aids.
so if this person came to you as a student, what kind of exercises would you get her to do?
Well, it's the same, we've talked about so many exercises, but good basics are good basics, regardless of whatever we're doing. So of course, my favorite is always going to be the where you do, and again, it's different strides. Like it's not up and down just 2 beats or 3 beats. It can be up to 5 beats if you can. Most people
So
can't.
you're saying up, up, down, or up, down, or up,
Right.
down,
But
down, up,
I
down.
like to do it with the 3 because you've got to
Yeah.
you want to do, for example, when you start, you won't be able to do 2 beats. So try 5 beats, use a neck strap, and you just go, okay, I'm going to start first with, for example, 5 steps of 2-point position, holding onto the neck strap because it'll teach you how to go deeper into your seat. So you want to think when you pick up the neck strap, the first thing you're going to notice is that you're going to go to your usual way of hanging onto the reins because you can feel you're up there balancing on the neck a little bit. So what the neck strap will do is when you feel yourself leaning forward just a little bit, that's when you should be shifting that weight so it goes down your back and through your lower leg. So it stretches down and back. So you do the 5 2-point, feeling the spring. That's the important thing. You've got to feel that spring going through your whole leg. Then you want to do 5 rising trot. Now what you're going to do when you're doing the rising trot, and it can be 5 or 6, whatever you choose to do, just keep the same amount of numbers, is you'll find in the rising trot, because again, you're holding that neck strap, thinking of where your center is instead of falling forward. But as you're doing the rising trot, what you're going to notice is many riders, when they do the rising trot, they just stand up in their stirrups and they push themselves up and out of the saddle, right? But the real rising trot, or the movement when you're following the canter, if you're sitting in the saddle, is a swinging movement that comes from the hip. So when you're practicing, again, we're going to do 5 steps, 5 steps 2-point, 5 steps rising trot. When you go up, your goal is to feel your weight go into your knee and back through the back of your leg. So your legs stretch softly down and back. When you sit down, and this is what most riders do, is they come down from the rising or whatever 2-point position and they slam into the back of the horse's back, the saddle, right?
Well, that's like your beginner riders would do. I don't know that this rider would, but yeah.
Probably not this rider. And when that's a sign of where you should be rolling back, get more into your thighs to feel that you're coming down into the saddle, into your thighs before your seat. So we've got the 2-point, then we have the rising trot, and then we have the sitting trot, which can be the hardest. If you have a bigger strided horse, you may not be able to sit 5 steps. So that's the exercise that I would do for this rider, is with the neck strap to help her. And this is all to bring her center of gravity back into her seat and her lower leg. And it's just a slight thing with her because, as we said, we really like this rider.
But yeah, she's a nice rider. I'm thinking that that I would continue on with that, but I'm just trying to look for those exercises we got yesterday, and I think I might still try to do those. Got those exercises from yesterday, when we did the when we interviewed chance yesterday. Yeah, there they are. And I think I would do because I think this person is, very good. I love your exercises. I think everybody should be put on the lunge or do those exercises too. And I think this person should be put on a pattern and develop that way as well, if you understand what I mean. So I'm just
Oh,
trying
I
to see.
agree, because she's at the stage where she's a thinking rider, and she's just looking for more ways to be able to think even more, because you can see she's connected. So give her patterns. I love patterns. Give her a pattern, let her develop that thinking rider thing, and to focus on keeping centered over her lower leg.
Yeah, so I'm just going to share that, and I think it's all right that I share.
I'm sure Chance won't mind.
This exercise. And let me just see if I can bring it over here. Okay, yeah. There we go. Is to draw on it. There we go. I'm going to bring it a little closer now. Where's my cursor? I've got two monitors, and there. So to me, for this rider, you can see that this was one of the exercises that we found yesterday. Is put this rider into a 2-point position and get a color here. Oh, that's not a touch screen. Okay, and you can go down this side here, trotting 2-point on the outside of this, and do a roll back to this one, and just do like a pattern through these. Oh, through these poles. Something like this, where you can practice your position. And this is a really simple exercise, and just do that pattern.
Both directions.
Yeah, so you can come here. I'm going to edit, create, draw.
And really,
yeah, so you can start here, go this way, you're on the right rein, go around, roll back, go on the left rein, roll back.
Her tendency to leave the saddle and go ahead of it is right before the jumps, it looks like, right? And then as she's going off, what she does is, her leg must be behind her when she takes off just a little bit at some level. And then her upper body tips forward ever so slightly. But that's why you sent your photo here, so that we could analyze it and give you more tools.
Yeah, and then if they continue on with this exercise, going through a pattern, just going all the way around, changing the rein, go all the way around this way, changing the rein, go all the way around this. I mean,
or you can go around each pole and jump the next. There's so many things you can do with these exercises. I love training.
Exactly. So these are really good exercises. If you have any questions about those exercises, we welcome having your questions here. And this is just a really simple pattern that you can do. And I think this particular rider is great. She's a wonderful rider. And by putting her through these exercises, she will focus on her position and get relaxed in her position. So she just kind of focuses on it rather than getting ahead and anticipating the horse. Now, what about the horse itself?
Well, we're here to discuss riding position.
No, how about just a little? The horse is jumping beautiful. She asked for.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she said, could he comment on the horse? I think he's lovely. Love the way he's got his knees up. His knees are up and square. He's pushing off with both hind legs. There's a nice arc there. He's great.
Mm-hmm. He is. You're lucky to have each other.
Perfect. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your comments are, questions are. Do you have any exercises that you like to do to help your riding position? Put it in the comments here. We'd love to hear what you are doing on your own with your own riding to help improve your own riding. We'd love to hear that too. What do you think, Randy? Move on to the next one.
Let's go. Rock and
Oh my
roll.
gosh. We're moving. Okay. So we got to get this back to normal. Go on to the next one. Okay. This is Bella. Thank you, Bella, very much for sending in your picture here. She says, I've recently found your YouTube channel and it has helped me tremendously. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This picture is from the most recent show. In the image below, I don't have my horse mane braided because I was competing in a lower level show and it does not require braids. The attached video. So she's got a picture and a video. It's quite long, so you can choose whichever jump you have. So this is another great photo. Thank you so much, Bella. Appreciate it. This, you can see here that we have her leg position is right in between the two jump standards, so we can see it. Again, it's from the side. Really love that it's from the side. And if you have your own photos that you'd like to send in, you can send it to thistleridge@hotmail.com, or if you're on Instagram, use the hashtags #AreMyHeelsDown to be featured right here on this page. So yeah. What's the first thing that strikes you that you notice on this rider, Randy?
Okay. All right. Well, again, I'm going to start from the front end. So the first thing that I notice as I go from the bit to the rider's hand is that the bite of her reins is on the, let's see, it's on the left. It should be on the right. It should be on the right.
The bite of the reins. Okay, so you may have to explain what that is.
That's where the loop, that loop of the reins, it appears from this photo that the reins are hanging on the left side of the horse's neck.
Yep.
And they should be on the right.
Yeah, the bite of the reins. So that loop, the reins, the part of the reins, so it comes from the horse's mouth to your hand, and then the part of the reins that comes from your horse's hand that is looped, that hangs onto the horse's shoulder, that's called the bite of the reins. And it is historically, or what's the proper etiquette, conventional thing is that bite should be on the right hand shoulder, not on the left hand shoulder. So that's one thing that you have to consider. Yeah. I'm not sure that would be a
it's in the rule book for the.
Oh, is it?
Well, it used to be in the States. I don't know what it is. Probably because you're Canadian. You guys are pretty organized there, I would say. So, okay. So I'm going to continue to go now.
Yep.
What I like is, again, I love these riders. This is you can see she's a very dedicated rider and she enjoys her horse. You can see that. So as I'm looking back, I like where she's got her hands on her elbows. You notice her head's almost ahead of her hand though, right?
Her head is ahead of her hands. Yeah. Okay. So there's her hands. I'm putting a marker on it. And there's her head. So her head is over top of her hands.
That's right.
Maybe that's
a little in front of them.
Okay.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
But she's so I'm going to keep going back further. So I like where she's keeping her upper body.
Now, do you like that? Do you like the head over the hands?
Well, it's supposed to be behind it, isn't it?
Yes. So head over hands. So her head should be behind her hands.
That's right. So what's happening, it's the same thing that happens with like 99% of riders. She's not in her base. She's not in her lower leg. You can see as you look at the front of the saddle, she's jumped over the pommel.
Yep. So her seat's over the pommel.
Yep. And with a rider, with the leg that I'm looking at here, it would be easy for this rider to keep her weight back where it belongs.
Yep.
Into her lower leg. So she's just jumping in front of the saddle, in front. Again, if you think of a horse, they're either in front of the aids or behind the aids. So we've got a rider here who is in front of her horse's aids. So unless she can keep her, as she develops her riding skill, because again, this is a rider who can do this, you need to you bring your knees down, lower your upper body so you're not jumping out of the saddle so much, and your horse stays under your center of support instead of jump. This horse isn't in front of you because you've jumped ahead of the horse at this moment of time in this photo,
Yep, exactly.
which tells me that you're not anchored into your lower legs or using your leg position the way that you could for a rider of your level, because you can see her leg is tight.
Yeah, her leg is good. So yeah, I agree with you. Her leg is good, but there's a couple things with her leg that I mean that's where I think the first thing that I noticed with this rider is maybe not so much the position, but as this here.
Yes,
That's the one. Well, yeah. So she's got her back, and I think she's trying to stay with the horse by roaching her back and standing up in her stirrups rather than folding at her hips and at her knees.
and letting the horse come up to her. Again, this is a rider.
Again, same thing.
Same
So
thing.
yeah, so
Instead of letting the horse come up to them, the withers, what she's doing is she's unconsciously maybe
yeah,
ducking, where she should just be, because if we took the horse away from underneath of her, she would fall on her face. That's the
that
bottom line.
so if we took the horse away from her, she would land and tip forward.
That's right. And from what I'm seeing on her stirrups with my magnifying glass, is looks like the whole front of the stirrup is facing me.
Yep.
You can see
Exactly. That was going to
that.
be my next thing is that her seat should be over the middle of the saddle. Her seat should be here over the middle of the saddle, which would bring her shoulders up,
Yes.
and then the other thing that we often see is that the she's gripping with the back of her legs.
Yes. Which is common. And again, if she pushed her lower leg forward and used it to anchor her riding position instead of falling forward, and again, we're being really picky here, then she would stay deep in the riding position and over her horse's center instead of going ahead of it.
Right. Exactly. And keeping her toes to the front so that she can use the inside part of her leg
Yes.
rather than gripping with the back of her legs. And for me, when I'm watching horses and riders go, I like to see that the stirrup leather
Straight up and down.
is straight up and down. It looks like this one is coming back
That's right.
with her toes turned out and her knees turned out. So
And we're
this is
not being so super picky here because we can look at you and see you're a nice rider. You wanted
yes, she's
to go deeper in depth.
great instincts, like that her eyes are up, she's looking forward, she's not interfering with the horse at all, and she looks great. Like looks like she's having a great time. She's a great team with this horse, but she's got some fundamental lower leg position corrections that we like to address, and that means that she's for me, if I had this person coming to me, I would put her on the lunge line or again use that exercise in 2-point position. And I like Randy's idea, or neck strap, get her lower leg secure on the inside part of her calf rather than the back and twisting her feet out.
I agree.
Yeah.
And with a
Good.
rider of this level, like the first one we saw, they're at the level where they can practice these exercises on their own. You don't need a coach standing next to you to tell you whether you're deep in your legs or not, because, well, you can
feel it.
At the level that you are, and these riders have to do is practice feeling every step. Is there a spring in the step of your riding position? If there's no spring, you're going to get sprung out of the saddle, especially coming up to the fence. That's where most people go on their toes and start flipping over the front.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So, wait a minute. Now we've also have her as a video. So let's do the next one here. Clear, close. Okay. Just a minute now. And we're going to share it.
And this is
Thank
the
you.
same rider?
Same rider. She's looks like a practice ride. I'm just going to make it a little bigger. Okay, I'm just going to rewind it so we can get that first jump.
All right, so as you're doing that, I'll just start talking. So as I'm watching this rider again, I'm going to start at the front and I'll go to the back. The first thing that I notice is that as you're going through this course, your horse, a rider of your level, I would like to see have more of a connection with their horse. Your horse is going around the course heavy on the forehand. So either the horse can move more forward to get up on the forehand or whatever. But so as I go from the head to the neck, going from the head to the neck, your hands are generally too high. I think that's what's leading to you tipping your riding position so much. You've got the right idea of carrying your hands, but I'm looking for the straight line from the elbow to the bit. I like the feel that you have in the horse's mouth. You have a nice feel. You have a nice presence on a horse. Now, as I see her going over here, here's where I see that she locks up her riding position. And this is where you begin to see the roaching of the neck, of the back.
Yeah. She's trying to stay with her horse by bringing her shoulders forward rather than relaxing through her hips and folding.
And going deeper into her lower leg. And this is hard to do because this horse at this moment of the thing, you can see his back is kind of flat. So what's happening is the rider, again, I'm saying a rider of this level, I would like to see her have the horse underneath of her seat, which means she needs to do more training of the horse to keep it with her. Because I like the feeling she's got. She's letting him go flowing and stuff. But here he's going to disconnect right before the fence. See him hollow his back?
There's a good position of her high hands, actually.
Right. And this is where he's beginning to hollow his back. This is where she should go deeper into her seat and ask the horse to step up more underneath so he's got his back up when he's coming to the fence instead of dropping on the forehand. And this all comes from her basic seat position. Because she looks like a good strong position, but you can see here her leg is getting right there. It's ready to start slipping back and she's going to tip over the front.
Yeah, and if maybe she does feel that the horse is getting low in the forehand, but raising up your hands really isn't going to satisfy that.
But you've got the right idea.
Beautiful feel. Love her loose elbows following the horse's mouth. Yes. And but her look at where her seat is over top of the almost over top of the cantle right now.
Right. Yep, and her hands are too far. Bring her hands down
on the neck,
2 to 4 inches above and in front of the withers.
So you can see right here, for me, at this part, I would like to see your hands here.
Yes. And above the neck, though. Above the neck.
Above the neck, yeah.
And you can see here.
Well, he's just taking off. So for me, here, I would like for her to start thinking of her release and pushing your hands on the neck, not this floating. To me, this is like a floating thing.
Yeah, but it's a nice floating thing because she's
very soft. Her elbows are soft, even though they're stuck out.
Yep, now she's flat, doing the chicken wing thing. But that's because this is the point where she loses her lower leg. The horse is locked underneath of her. He's lost. See him going heavy on his forehand?
Well, yeah, that's tough. Yeah, he needs to bring his hindquarters underneath. Yeah,
she changes her position. Because every time, here's the secret to the riding position changes that we're talking about. Every time you readjust I call it readjusting the position and going deeper into the rider's legs and seat. Every time you do that, it's like a half halt. It's a call attention to the horse where they realize, okay, I'm shifting my seat. I'm going deeper in, I'm anchoring myself. As soon as the horse feels that, they go, okay, it's time for a change.
Yep. And here, this is the next stride.
Yep. And here's where she starts ducking.
Yeah, and then her hands, although there's a beautiful freedom here, which is lovely, for me, her hand should be here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because this is where she's ducking. And you can see this is the point, you can see where her heel's coming up. This is the point where she's going to lose her lower leg, and it's like she gets heavy on the forehand and all of her weight's going to the front instead of staying deep and anchored, which is where all the riders lose it. It's not just her. right? It's like 99% of riders. This is exactly what they do, right, Laura?
Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure. So here, this is so much fun having a video, Randy. I mean, we get to stop at every frame to analyze the performance of the rider.
Hard for the
And
rider.
you talk about being under the magnifying glass, quite literally, isn't it?
That's right.
I mean, show us your magnifying glass, Randy.
Oh yes, here's my magnifying glass, and
She's got a magnifying glass.
that's right. And as we're talking about
You're
this,
not.
remember to like, share, and comment on this video.
Yeah, well, we'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. There's lots of people watching here, so it's kind of fun to see that. So here you could see that straight. There's absolutely no angle here.
Oh, she's got no spring.
She's got no spring.
So at that
And
point,
she's over top of the pommel of the saddle here.
ouch,
When her seat should be
further back, so she's
further back.
So she's over her lower leg.
So she's over her lower leg. Yeah, for sure.
Which will, again, it'll help the horse to balance better over the fences too. As long as you're ahead of the horse's motion like this, your horse is just going to keep taking you, basically.
It's unfortunate that posted. And then look at here, because she was not with the horse in front of the jump.
She fell back behind.
She fell back behind.
Boom, on the horse's back. And it's so slight with this rider. We're being really picky here, so just realize that. I forgot her name, but please don't think this is an insult. This is
Bella.
Every rider in the world does what you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing this with us so that other people can learn from what you're doing. See, she's got a good feel. He drops on his forehand going around the corner, and he's got a good stride, but because she's not in the center of his back, she can't balance him in the way that a rider of this level I would like to see more of.
Yeah, she should push herself up to the next level, right?
That's right. She's ready.
She needs to get her lower leg on a bit more. You can see it.
Yep.
And relax and stay with the horse. It looks like she's kind of bouncing.
Well, she loses her spring.
Yeah, she's losing her spring.
So when you go around the ring, it should be your helmet shouldn't look like it's moving. It should stay at the same level.
There, see here again. So that what she did over the first jump, she's doing here again as she's standing up in her stirrups. You can
reaching up.
You can see that her seat is over top of the pommel. Lower leg's kind of swung back. And here's the test is if you take the horse away, where's this rider going to go?
That's right. Can she stand? If we took the horse away, could the rider stand
up?
No. Which just tells us again, like with almost every rider, if the riders can't stand, it's because they're not standing in their lower leg. They're not using their lower leg to help balance their riding position. Because we know when we're jumping, we're using our lower leg to help us balance, right? Sometimes we're using our thigh, but none of those matter if we're not anchored into our lower leg where we can balance our riding position to be able to do that correctly.
Yeah. So again, I think some of the exercises that we would like to do would be to 2-point position. I love your up, up, down. I call it up, up, down exercise, but it could be the up, 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 down.
Or whatever.
Up, down, down, up. So 2-point for a certain number of strides, then sitting in the saddle for a couple of strides as well. That, for me, that would be a really good exercise for this rider because you have to feel the horse and relax into the rhythm of the horse. So if you're mechanical, which is what looks like this rider is a bit, it's a difficult exercise because you're not feeling. But that exercise, the up, up, down, I just call it up, up, down, standing in your 2-point for 2 steps, sitting for 1 step. You have to feel what's happening with your horse. Oh my gosh.
That colored braid would work nice too. I mean, she could put something in the horse where to keep her hands.
For her release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Keeping your hands.
Yep.
Exactly.
Because that's, if she, in case she doesn't know, in the hunter ring, there are many trainers who will, when they're braiding the horse's mane, everything's the same color except for one braid. And the reason they do that is so the rider knows where to keep their hands. And you can do this even if you're riding with a long, loose mane, like if you're riding your horse on a regular basis. Just
put one braid in.
Put one braid in, put a string, put a rubber
put your hands.
Just something to mark it.
Now, what do you think about with this rider having a neck strap on this horse so that she can, or a martingale strap or a neck strap or a piece of cotton around the horse's neck to hold on to?
I love neck straps. So
I know you love neck straps.
And the reason I would like it for this rider is because first it'll take her center of gravity down instead of being in the upper part of her body. When she picks up the neck strap, she'll pick it up and the focus will be, instead of pulling on the reins like most riders do, or leaning unconsciously, when she takes a hold of the neck strap, she can take a hold and actually pull herself deeper into the seat, where she can start getting that feeling of where she's disconnecting from her riding position, which at her level is affecting her horse's performance.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a great one. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that you guys are sending in these photos because it's amazing. I think you're really brave to do that. And also it's helping so many people. So let's go on to, okay, let's see. We have, I think the next one is, let's just take a little break here and go, this is what's wrong with this picture, or don't do this at home picture. It's kind of tiny. Would you do that, Randy?
No. I can't imagine that they're even doing it.
Yeah. No. Would you do this at home? Anybody who's watching, would you do this, or would you allow it to be done? Would you watch somebody do this? Would you be brave enough to do that? Would you ride a horse? I might ride a horse and do it.
I'd be stupid enough, but these are from the military days. They used to do so many things in the military. Yeah. We would never do anything like that. Really?
No.
Can you imagine the liability?
No. Okay. So now we have, I think this one is Melissa. Unfortunately, why is it not getting bigger? Oops, wrong one. Go back. Okay. Can you see that one, Randy?
I've got my magnifying glass out. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of small.
It's really small. Let me see.
Well, I think this is the thumbnail, and when they send in thumbnails, it's small and they don't get bigger. I can't make it bigger. Love the angle of this photograph. It's great to see. Starting at the front end of the horse. So Melissa says, this is a recent photo after being off 4 months due to an injury. So again, you can see the first thing that strikes me is that the rider's leg has slipped back. And when the rider leg slips back, what usually means to me is that they are pinching with their knees. What are you doing there, Randy? I can hear some crackling. Are you leaning on your...
That must be you. I'm not doing anything.
Ah.
So yes, I agree with you. But again, it's like the other riders. It's nice because everybody's doing basically the same thing. She's anchored in her, she starts twisting on her knee there a little bit because she's not anchored into her lower leg at the level we would have expect of a rider like this. So what she's right, you can see it's
yes, exactly.
She's standing in her stirrups. She's got no spring, and we're no insults intended. This is like 9 out of 10 riders do this until they figure it out. Your spring system isn't in place when you're in this position. So what's happening is you've jumped yourself out of the saddle, coming up to the coming up to the jump, you probably start getting just a little tense, getting ready for it. And
Same as the last rider, right? Her,
all
you
of
know,
that, right?
similar to the, yeah.
That's right. They're pushing themselves out of the saddle instead
Yeah.
of sinking deeper into the saddle, which is
So we like to, sorry, Randy, like to see your seat over the middle of the saddle more. She's got her seat like the other rider over the pommel of the saddle.
right.
Like to just see.
She's not in her lower leg. That's why.
Exactly. She's pinching with her knee and her lower leg is slipped back. So again, thinking of, sorry?
And she lost the spring as a result. No spring can't stay above the horse's back, right?
Yep. So the front part of your leg, rule of thumb, front part of your leg should be in near the back of the girth. Front part of the leg should be in the back part of the girth. Oh, April's here. April says, "Good morning, my favorite jumping instructors. Thank you for coming, April." Front of the saddle, front of the leg.
I love this exercise. I love the way the jumps are set up. What a great training exercise.
Yes, I love that too.
So yes, with this rider, she's again, we've got nice level of riders. Not that levels matter, but you can see they've all had basic training. They're at a point now where they're evolving to where they're actually training their horses more, which means that it's time for them to focus more on how they're creating a foundation with their riding positions so they can influence a horse in the way that they're ready to be able to do now. And that will change as they get deeper into their seat, like we keep talking about, deeper into the legs, because once you do that, your horse stays centered underneath of you more, and that's the secret to your success in anywhere.
Is it the horse staying centered under you, or you being centered over top of your horse?
Well, it's kind of a catch-22, but with a rider at this, right, for the rider at this level, you can see that she's not with her horse.
Yeah.
So
if we took the horse away,
right.
If we took the horse away, what would happen to this rider?
She would fall on her face.
Yep.
So she's ahead of her horse's motion. And that's kind of important when you're jumping or doing anything. If the horse is, if you're jumping ahead of your horse, that's where you start tipping over. But again, this is so common, right, Laura?
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. So Randy, get out your magnifying glass there and tell me, what's she doing with her hands?
It's really hard for me to see. I can't really see it. It looks like her hands are above the neck, but I can't tell. It looks like they're above the neck, so I like that. I just can't really see it.
Yeah. Love the way she's looking forward, looking to the next fence.
Yes.
And
the other thing that it'll do by her sitting back is it'll lengthen her neck, because you'll notice as she's jumping at this point of time in this photo, she's actually cramming her neck down into her shoulders.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And that's a result of that position she's in now. As she sits back a little bit more and comes deeper into her legs, what will happen is it'll lengthen the whole front and the back of her body. She will appear taller and her neck will be longer instead of starting to come back into her shoulders again.
Yes. Yep. Totally. Like that. Really good. I mean, she's not interfering. She's trying to stay with the horse best she can, and she just needs to fix that lower leg. So, Randy, again, exercises.
Yes. Well, the same exercises, same ones, because the basics work for everything.
Exactly.
Until she gets any rider, until they get the feeling of keeping the spring by keeping deep into their lower leg where there's spring, you're going to have this position. It is what it is. And once you get the feeling of bringing your weight back, so you're centered over your horse's center and you're deep into your lower leg and right, everything, then you get a connection that's like magical. All of a sudden, you won't have to work as hard because you just sit there. And then when the horse comes up to a jump, you sit back, you get deeper in there where you get into the, again, I use the feeling of the half halt, because every time you reconnect your position like that, the horse senses it. So you come up to a jump, you center yourself as you're getting ready to go over the jump, and the horse senses it.
Yeah, so the exercises that you would do, I would go back to that trotting over trot rails and your 2-point, the up, 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 down, up, down. I call it the up, up, down exercise. Stand in your stirrups for 2,
Do it over
down for 1.
poles, everything. Do a lot of
Do it
trot.
over poles.
A lot of trot.
What's another exercise that we learned from Ann Thal was a Sally Swift,
Oh, right.
stretching stretching one hand up above your head, or even put it on your hip. That will help establish your weight down into your heels. All those kinds of things.
Your back.
I mean, you don't even have to go over jumps. You can do them on the flat, on a circle, over poles, walk, at halt, at walk, at trot, all those things. Take a step back, stay on the flat for a while, and
feel when your shoulders, like here's an awareness exercise they can do, and we can do it right now as you're sitting on chairs. Those of you who are watching the replay or watching live, as you're sitting on the chair, close your eyes and just bring your shoulders forward, and you'll notice that you roll off your seat bones. Do you feel that? And then bring your shoulders back and feel when your shoulders are back above your seat bones. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yep, it's easy. So you roll forward, feel when they disconnect.
Yep.
And then roll back. That's your right position, right?
Yeah.
It's so simple, right? So all you have to do is when you're riding, and it's going to drive you crazy while you're riding, because you'll say, okay, I'm going to try what Randy said. I'm going to try
I'm going to drive your horse crazy.
Well, you're already driving your horse crazy. They've just adapted to whatever you're doing. So what this will do is it'll center you, and your horse will become more centered as a result. And all you have to do is feel. Tip yourself forward. Feel when you fall off your seat bones. If you duck like you're ducking over the fence, you'll fall completely off of your seat bones completely, right? So bring yourself back, feel where that is.
Yeah.
And ride it you won't be able to ride it every step. You'll be shocked how often you feel it at first, but then you just keep going, okay, there I am. My shoulders are way ahead of my position again. And you'll feel like, oh, I'll never get this right. But it takes 1,000 times to learn a new habit.
Yeah. Okay, so Randy, let's go on to the next one. Chestnut videos. This is Lauren and Autumn. Her horse got injured a few months ago. Thankfully, there was no fracture, and it was just a bad bruise. Have eased her back into work, and she's now back to her old self, learning some new things. Okay, I've got to learn to remember to share it with you instead of just watching it on my own. I do that sometimes. Yeah. Okay.
Technological age changes everything for us.
Experience, right?
Right. And we're so comfortable making mistakes.
Oops, where'd she go?
Who, me?
Where'd she go? Oh, she's cantering by. Let's see if I can catch her. She's going by.
Oh, is that the video just that one time?
That's it.
Stop it. Right there. All right. And this is April?
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. Cute horse.
Isn't she cute?
Yep. And here we see, again, I'm going to just start from the front to the back, all right?
Yep.
So the first rule of thumb for any position is there should be a straight line from the elbow to the bit.
Elbow to the what?
Bit.
Elbow. Whoops. I got to get this engaged. Elbow to the bit.
And of course, this is all connected to your lower leg position, but we'll get back to that. Now, as she comes up here, you can see at this point is where she's going to tip over the front of the saddle.
Look how long yeah.
You know, but she's got what you can see. She's got, like the other riders, nice, consistent position. She's had a lot of riding. She pulls down with her hands on the reins. Do you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. I'm just going back a few frames and then moving it ahead.
So
Interesting.
that's she really when she's losing her lower leg position. So she thinks she's not thinks, okay, she's like all of us, all right? So you're coming up to the fence and you're shortening your range to try to get a little bit more control of what you're doing with your position or the horse, whatever. But that's where you need to be going deeper into your seat and connecting with your horse through a deeper seat, going deeper into your legs instead of thinking, I've got to fix this with my hands. I'm going to lean on my hands because, you know, we all know how that works, right, Laura? Because we've all
Yeah, to me, it almost looks like I'm not quite sure if she's trying to fix the horse with her hands or if she's balancing on the horse with her hands.
I think she's trying to train the horse.
But you could see that she's bracing with her shoulders and bringing her hands down and wondering why the horse is resisting her
That's right.
rather than keeping her legs on and a soft shoulder and hand to get the horse to come up underneath her. You could see
Right.
I'm just kind of moving it forward and then back.
So less rein and more control with your riding position because you can do it at this level, at the level this rider is. She's gone again. But as she comes up there, you can see the horse is heavy. You know, see he's a little.
We could see by its mouth here too, right? That like she doesn't look real happy about the whole situation.
Right. That's right. But nice, you know, you can see she's consistent. Same thing as with our other riders, like 99% of the riders. See her lower leg flip forward? That pushes her to the back of the saddle. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is she's going to come up to the jump and she's going to slide her leg back and flip over the front. There it goes. And she's got to hold on to her for just a second, but there's where all of a sudden she locks up her body instead of staying firmly, pushes her out of the saddle in the front. See there, she pushes.
Yeah, so that like it's all the tension is that she's lost her like her position. If you just kind of took her off of there, she's in a good position. She's a good place in the middle of the saddle. But you can see the tension in her body, and that comes from here. Her heels are down, sure, but
not that it's tension. Let's rephrase this for her. It's not that you're a tense rider. This is your position locking up instead of staying springy, which happens to everybody. So here, yep, you're right. So here with her leg forward, like you said, Laura, that's going to push her seat behind the saddle. So the next step, she's coming up to a jump. Her seat's going to be behind the saddle. She's coming up to a jump. She's going to be left behind because all she can do is duck with her front end. See, there she starts. See, there it goes.
The jump must just be off camera, or she's just
right.
Okay, so let's just see what we have next. So here she has, maybe this is the jump.
Right. So her leg, now at this point, her foot has actually slid back in the stirrup. You can see it's
that's what I was going to say. The other one, her foot is home in the stirrup for sure.
Yep. And again, that's because she's not secure in her lower leg. But even though her leg looks steady, it's consistent. You can see this rider has worked hard on this riding position. But that's what makes it nice. See, he goes right on his forehand before the jump because she's not staying with him. But that's where most riders are. There's nothing wrong with this. This is where the stirrup leather is going to start sliding back. You see it going back as her foot goes home. Look at what a sweet horse. Look at her. Look at him listening to her. Nice. And you can see she's listening to him too. These are just
she's got good instincts for sure, and she's not interfering.
That's right.
It's just that
she's learned how to duck.
There she goes. She's standing up in her stirrup.
Yep. No spring.
Right there. She's she's standing, and if you look at her shoulders too, it looks like she's leading with her left shoulder maybe, and she's kind of twisting her body.
Yes. Yes, the horse.
Now here's something I want to point out, Randy. Here's another thing that I would like to point out. If you can see daylight between your body and the pommel of the saddle, that means you're standing up in your stirrups. That's daylight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and it's so great that we can stop and start the video. She's definitely in front of the pommel.
Yep. And standing up, you can see she's bracing in her stirrups by now.
Yep. Exactly.
And again, we're talking about little nuances. I mean, you're bracing on the stirrups to us is, most people may not even see it, but we can see because it locks up your position. But this is normal. Everything is normal that you're doing. There's nothing you're doing that's wrong. And you, as with the other riders we've looked at today, have the ability to take your riding to the next level by thinking about why are you disconnecting from the saddle as you're coming up to a jump? That's you disconnecting from the horse.
Well, I think also too, if you watch this, Randy, she's looking over to me, it looks like she's looking over here.
Yep, and the horse is
Oopsie.
jumping. The horse is jumping to the left. She's
And the
jumping.
horse is jumping to the left. So yeah. So this rider, again, I would set up the same exercise as we did the pole exercise. Get going over around the poles. Oh my gosh, if you sent in more pictures, we would, I think we could stay on here for an entire morning. That would be so much fun. Send me an email with your photos, and if you're on Instagram, Are My Heels Down, and we'll take a look at your photos. You could be featured here next week for sure. And Randy, this rider, Lauren, I would do the same exercises as we did before to encourage the rider to come down into their leg and feel exactly what's happening on the horse, going over the 2-point position, over poles, over trot rails, and send up a little pole exercise on the ground and work a pattern over the pole exercise, focusing on your position, on your steering, and the feeling of the horse, of what the horse is doing underneath you. Can you believe it? It's 10:30.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap up now, Randy. Thank you so much. Randy is, what are you, Randy? Where's your thing here?
I'm a human. I live on a mountain. My mountain.
And if you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey related stuff, then remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos coming out. So we'll be live again here next week. And also, if you're interested in having your position reviewed, send us a photo from the side to thistleridge@hotmail.com. And if you're on Instagram, hashtag Are My Heels Down, and we'll get to that. Thank you so much, Randy. Really appreciate it. Randy has been coaching and training riders for over 25 years, and she's an industry legal consultant and expert witness, and the founder of Jumping Instructors Network. What's that?
Horse industry expert witness.
What did I say?
You said industry. You were close.
Okay.
You just left.
And of course, me. I'm Laura Kelland-May, Equestrian Canada Senior Judge, Hunter Jumper, Hack, and Equitation, and
Premier
Senior Steward, and Competition Coach Specialist with high performance training. Yeah. Oh, I just got a message from Jay. Sorry. Oh, he started teaching early, so he couldn't make it. So thank you so much. We'll see you again next week. Really appreciate it. Oh, now we get a comment. Another great show. Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your comments. Thank you, and bye. Now go use this stuff. Go hug your horse. Go use this stuff. And what do you like to say, Randy?
We'll see you on the other side of the fence.
Bye now. Thanks.